Hey guys, welcome to 10 and 10, the conversation starter show where we list our top 10 in 10 minutes. Today we have a very special episode where we've got one of my favourite YouTubers from the entire world, Anthony from Interworldwide. How you doing, Anthony?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Even better after that introduction. Tim Owen, thanks for having me, boys. Appreciate it.
No worries, man. Glad to have you on the show. How's Sydney going?
Oh man, everything's going well over here. It's just that, how's Inter going, bro? You're wearing the same jersey as I am. It could be better. It could be a lot better, bro. But we'll see what happens. COVID season, lots of games back to back to back. We'll see where football takes us in a very crazy season, bro.
I know, it's been a very hard start to the season for us. Liverpool's doing pretty well, this guy.
I've got a good coach, boys, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Ooh, not a fan. But I'm really keen to get into this, man. I love being able to share different opinions and being able to rank them as well. So really keen.
Yeah. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about what you do Interworldwide. Give us a plug.
So at Interworldwide, basically, I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I just realised that there wasn't enough opportunity for English-speaking Inter fans to voice their opinion and vent their frustrations, because let's face it, it's more of a 90% frustration, 10% appraisal thing with Inter. But everything's going great. We've been around for almost 2 years now. We're Inter Worldwide, and check us out on YouTube and the socials if you're interested, not just in Inter, but we try to incorporate as much Serie A and Italian football into our content as possible. And a huge shout out and thanks to Tim, who's kind of been a fan and been communicating with me since day one. So thank you. If anyone's impressed with the new graphical changes on our YouTube, that's your guy right there. Thanks a lot, my man.
No, that's all good. All right, do you want to give us criteria for today?
Yeah, mate. So today we're looking at the top 10 greatest clubs. Objectively speaking, this is not our opinion. These are, from the stats, the top 10 best clubs, mainly looking at Champions League, Europa Leagues, and league titles as well.
Yeah, so basically, if you're going to play someone in a Champions League final, who's the biggest deal? Who's going to be the biggest club that you can play? So let's get into it. We're going to start off with number 10. We're going with Benfica.
Let's go.
The best Portuguese sides, in our opinion, anyway.
Yeah. All right.
So Benfica, they've won 2 Champions Leagues, 5 runners-up. They've got plenty of league titles as well, the most out of any team.
Yeah.
So we kind of figure they're not probably as prevalent today in the last 10, 15 years, but overall history, we still think Benfica's number 10.
Yeah, I mean, the 9 more League Cups in Porto, which kind of pushed it over the line, I think, for us.
Yeah.
Benfica took it.
Yeah. What about you, Anthony? What do you reckon?
Benfica was one of my honourable mentions at the end of the list. It wasn't for me. I was thinking before we did this list, am I going to stick to just European clubs? The answer is yes, except for one. I've actually chucked Al Ahly in there as the 10th. So in case nobody notices, because it is hard to not recognise things outside the European South American realm, Al Ahly is the most celebrated club in the world, actually, with 118 league titles. They are currently first in the Egyptian league, and they dominate African football, man. Al Ahly, I've got a few friends from overseas, and they are nuts about that side. And outside of European football, they actually showcase themselves as a heavyweight side. So I thought I actually can't give this list without throwing them a bone, man. So I'm actually going to go with Al Ahly as my number 10.
Mate, that's why you're a pro. Love that pick.
That's why we got him on here. That's exactly what we need.
Mate, our number 9 to kick it off, we've got
Inter Milan.
Inter Milan, number 9.
LA.
They got 3 Champions League titles, 2 runners-up, 3 Europas, and then 18 league titles with 15 runner-up titles. So,
that's good mate,
they're just a big club.
Mate, completely unbiased though. They're a big club. I still think, even though we've kind of sucked for the last decade, I still think when someone plays us, it's a big deal. It's a big deal to play Inter Milan. So got my boys at number 9.
Mate, that's what we're doing. We're not doing the last 10, 20, 30 years. We're doing them all time. And if you're looking at all time, Inter's there.
That's right.
Fair enough. I'm going to echo the thoughts of my boys. I've got Inter locked in at number 9. I'd love to put them at number 1, but if I'm being completely honest, they struggle to make this top 10. But 3 Champions Leagues, amazing. 18 league titles, couple of runners-up. Always thereabouts. And I will say, before I give the rest of the names on this list, yes, it's objectively speaking with titles and accolades, but I'm also taking into account just the overall stature of the club in general. And it's Inter, it's Internazionale. When you talk to football fans about Italy, they are one of the clubs that come up in the major conversation. So I don't think you can have a top 10 list in the world without Internazionale, and I'll back that to my death.
I agree, mate. I agree.
Love it. All right, mate, you take number 8.
Mate, we've got Ajax coming up next.
Ajax.
Mate, four Champions League titles, 2 runners-up, 1 Europa, and about 30 league titles, which is extraordinary.
Dutch league. And the Dutch league's no slouch league as well. It's a pretty solid league there.
Yeah.
Again, they haven't been as strong lately, but then they had a couple of
good runs
in the last couple of years. So we've got Ajax number 8.
People are going to think this is scripted. I'll take a screenshot if you don't believe me, but I've got Ajax in at number 8 as well. Heavyweight club,
great football
and not only
mate.
based on their statistics, just the way that their youth academy works, that they're kind of an example for the rest of the footballing world, and everybody sort of knows that. When you look at youth academies, when you look at developments, when you look at low cost spending, high revenue raising from incoming transfers, Ajax Amsterdam are a business model that is a model for the rest of the footballing world, and I've always admired them for that. I had the privilege of being over in the Netherlands in 2016, and I caught their season opener against Utrecht live, and oh my god, their fans can make some noise, those Ajax Amsterdam fans. So I'm happy to slot the Dutch champions in at number 8.
Awesome. Alright, buddy, this is going to hurt a little bit for me. Number 7, I have to put the Red Devils Manchester United.
Mate, I got you to say this one because I couldn't bear speak the name. It's like Voldemort to me, I can't say it. But
that's right.
They've got to be there.
It's a little bit disgusting. Let me just drink some water.
A lot of you guys will think we've dropped them too low, and I understand that. The last 30 years, they've been ridiculously dominant, especially like the 90s to mid-2000s.
Yeah, so Alex Ferguson.
But when you're looking at Champions Leagues, they're only at 3 wins. 3 Champions Leagues, 2 runners-up, and 1 Europa. 20 league titles is incredible.
Yeah, but the majority's in that sort of 15-year dominance period.
Yeah, so if you take out that dominant period, they're not really there. And I really think their Champions League, the European comps have really hurt them in our list. So I understand the fan base, I understand all of that. But European football, when you're versing the best teams in the world, they've really dropped off, even during that dominant 90s, 2000s era.
Yeah, let them down a little bit.
Well, interesting one. I fear saying this on camera because I actually have a soft spot for Manchester United. I don't even think I've told Tim this before, but when I was 4 years old, a family friend came back from his honeymoon and gave me a Manchester United jersey with Andy Cole on the back. So by sheer default, you guys will know this as well. Living in Australia, we have to support an English team because when you grow up, that's the first sort of stimulation that you have on TV or being able to follow the sport. I've got them a little bit more up the list, so I'll reserve that for later. From one underachieving European giant to another, bang, Juventus comes in at number 7 for me. I hate Juventus more than anything else in the world, but I can't exactly not throw them in above Inter. I won't talk about how many league titles they have because they'll tell you a different number than the real number. But in terms of their European pedigree, they've been a little bit of an underachiever. They've lost more finals than any other team that's been in the Champions League. Thank you. So they'll go in at number 7 to me. But for heavyweight club, amazing athletes. Like if you want to go and look at a club's list of squad players over the last 30 years, take a good look at Juventus's and you'd be forgiven for not thinking they're not the FIFA/UEFA All-Stars of the last 3 decades. So for me, I will put Juventus in there as my next pick.
Yeah. Mate, I can't argue with what you're saying there, but I can't bear myself to talk about Juventus. I'm going to let on.
Yeah, we actually have that number 6, Anthony.
I had a feeling.
Number 6, Juve. As you said, they've got 2 European Champions League wins, but they've got 7 runners-up. So they've been there 9 times, which is a big deal. But again, 2 and 7, that's not the record you want.
No.
They got 1 Europa Champions League, and then 3 Europa Leagues and 36 league titles, including the last 9 in a row, I believe.
Yeah, don't talk about it.
So they've got a kind of a title that spreads decades, not just the last 9. Even if you take the last 9 out, they're still rocking a good amount of Champions League, of league titles.
Yeah, they are filthy cheaters, though. So,
so that was your 6th. Was that your 6th one?
That was our number 6, Anthony.
Wow,
yeah, that's number 6.
My number 6 is going to have to go to Bayern Munich. Possibly could have been larger up the list due to their 6 Champions Leagues, and it's probably just more of an opinion on my half rather than anything else. But just based on what I've seen and supported throughout my life, I've got Bayern Munich in at number 6. Lots of league titles, just an overall pedigree and like that German professionalism. I just think back to when Germany won the 2014 World Cup with a majority of Bayern players, and when the full-time whistle went, they kind of walked around and shook each other's hands like, job well done. job well done.
Yeah.
Whereas when Italy or Spain wins a World Cup, it's like, oh my God, let's party for this for the next 3.5 years and pretend that the future doesn't count. But
German engineering,
when I
mate.
think
It
of
just runs
German
like
teams, I
clockwork.
think of efficiency. And there was no more efficient club than Bayern Munich in this COVID period. They were absolutely unbelievable. And even as I'm saying it right now, to be honest, I probably should have put them 2 spaces higher. So let's move up.
Yeah, no, they're a great team. All right, man, I'm going to keep the Serie A theme going here. Number 5, I've got Milan, AC Milan.
AC Milan.
Only because I think it's hard not to have recency bias in terms of they just haven't been good the last sort of 10, 15 years, really.
Yeah.
But looking at they got the second most Champions Leagues, I think, still. What have they got? 7 Champions Leagues, 4 runners-up. They got no Europa Leagues, though, and then they got the same amount of Scudettos as Inter. I mean, you can't not put AC Milan in the top 5. They're just an amazingly massive club.
And if you've been to the Champions League final 11 times, that's something, you know.
Yeah.
And then you look at the players they've had, it's just a who's who of football, so
It really
they're
is.
just massive.
Yeah. AC Milan, heavyweight club. My number 5 is actually Manchester United. I've put them in the top 5.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit biased, and after hearing you guys speak a little bit more statistically, they probably do occupy that 7th or 8th spot. But I was born in 1992, and the overall language of football back then was Manchester United wins every single game, plays the best football in the world, and I was spoiled and luxurious under Sir Alex Ferguson to watch this team kill off every single thing that came off in their path for 2 decades. So those league titles won in such a short amount of time, that many in the time frame, that's been their saving grace for all their crappy form over the last 5 or 6 years. What other club in the world do you know can be that unsuccessful yet boast more revenue than the club that's going to occupy our number 1 spot? It's ridiculous, man. So, as I said at the start of the list, I'm taking into account a little bit overall stature and presentation of the club in terms of fan base, and that's what locks in that 5th spot for United right there. The fact that they can play dismal football, piss off all their fans, and then boast more revenue than anyone in the world. It's ridiculous.
I agree, mate. As I said, we were shocked when we put Man U as low as we did. We actually were. We were like, surely they're higher. And when you look at that type of stuff, even they've done nothing for the last, 6, 7 years, and they're still getting big name players and they're still getting transfers. There's still that big club. There's still reverence around, especially guys our age. There's that reverence around Manchester United, around Old Trafford and everything there. So I get it. 100%. They're just a big club.
Yeah, they are.
Mate, our number 4, we've gone Bayern. So dropped them a little bit, put them a little bit higher than you, but mainly, you got 6 Champions League titles, 5 runners-up, 1 Europa, and then 29 league titles. German league, obviously, it's not as big as some of the others, but it's still a solid league. As you said, though, the way they run their club, the way they have the same football going through kind of generations, the players they have. I admit, I loved when they got Ribéry and Robben. They had that kind of wing combo. It was just so fun to watch.
So strong,
they're just dominant. They're dominant in Europe. They're dominant in Germany. And mate, we put them number 4.
Cool. Well, we're up to number 4. My number 4 is my cross-city cousins, AC Milan. Wow. Amazing club. I have to say right now, next to Liverpool fans, they're probably the most annoying fans on the planet. But in terms of being an overall stature of a club, they're brilliant. And the fact that they've been in dismal form, even worse than Manchester United when you reflect the context of the league, this year is just an example of how their fans come through and persevere. They're always around. All it takes is one character like Zlatan to embed that Milanisti mentality into the players and the coach. You look at their squad and their coach at the moment, boys, they're still a 4th place, 5th place team in Italy, but they are going to ride this one out right to the end, 100% sure. I will go back and reflect on around about 2004 to 2007. In my opinion, best club in the world. On paper, performance-wise, Ancelotti. I mean, the fact that you guys did them over in that final was nothing
2005 Champions League, mate.
Incredible, but if you go and read Andrea Pirlo's autobiography, which is the most amazing thing I've ever read, he said that when they beat you in the reverse Champions League 2 years later, they went back in the dressing room and they were really unhappy. That loss in 2005 to you, was it 2005?
2005.
That killed players like Maldini, Gattuso, Nesta, Pirlo. Mentally, they still haven't recovered from that. They can barely look each other in the eye. That Milan team that was leading
one of the best goals you'll ever see.
Yeah, that Milan team that was leading you 3-0 in that final should have gone on to win that game 5-0. they completely shot themselves there. But I will say right now, I actually don't think I've seen better football from a club in my life, maybe bar one or two other teams, than AC Milan under Ancelotti. So they get number 4 for me.
Yeah. And they've all got old man Zlatan kind of just carrying them right now as well.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It defies physics, biology, everything.
He's a browse. All right, mate. Number 3, we've got probably the team that we... young people. We're all teachers here. People that we teach at school who they see as the biggest club, Barcelona.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of beautiful footy, like Barca, when they had that, Iniesta, Xavi, David Villa, just Busquets, that was for me anyway, probably the best football I've seen. Yeah, that kind of prime run.
Definitely the conversation, and I mean, I guess the reason they're not quite number 1 is just because they don't have as many Champions League or accolades as some of the other clubs. The 2 other clubs are going to put above them. But I mean, you can't deny Barcelona when you hear the name or you're playing them in anything. It's a huge deal, and it's
surprisingly ordinary in Europe. Considering their dominance, they've got 5 Champions League titles, 3 runners-up, no Europa Leagues.
Yeah.
So surprisingly ordinary.
Yeah.
Considering how good they've been for so long. But I mean, like 26 league titles in a solid league.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, they're just a great club.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend the shortest response on this one because you've literally said it all. For me, it's Barcelona for XYZ 1, 2, 3 that you've literally said. Amazing football, quite possibly the most attractive brand of football of all time on the planet. Star-studded lineup, and I'm kind of a little bit happy seeing that. Messi for me will always be possibly the greatest, but when you look at him now, you really took advantage of Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol, David Villa, that whole star-studded lineup. It was a perfectly ticking system. This wasn't Messi elevating Barcelona. This was a perfect system. And that's what I'll always remember Guardiola's Barcelona as, the system that even made Sir Alex Ferguson sit on the sideline of the Champions League final and go, oh, well. And Alex Ferguson never did that. But if you read his autobiography, that was the only time where he just went, oh, well, what do I do here? So Barcelona, lock it in 3.
Awesome, mate. Our number 2, right here, buddy. Right here.
Fair call.
The Scousers themselves, mate. Liverpool's up there. I was actually slightly shocked when we put them as high as we did. But when you went through the stats, it was just kind of undeniable. They've got 6 Champions Leagues, 3 runners-up, 3 Europa Leagues, 19 league titles, only 1 less than United. Of course, we're looking at the history of football. We're not just looking the last 30 years. So 19 league titles, 14 runners-up. And like huge fan base and stuff as well.
Yeah, particularly as Anthony was saying, when you grow up in Australia, the Premier League's the league that you watch, that's the go-to.
It is.
And it's undeniable, there's just a huge Liverpool following in Australia. I don't know what exactly the reason is for it, but they're just so vastly followed.
Yeah, but I think the reason why is because most of our parents grew up when Liverpool was the team.
Yeah.
Like my mum, my dad, Liverpool was the team then.
Yeah.
So I go for Liverpool because my family went for Liverpool and it's kind of carried down. And I think that's just happened. So guys our age, guys in our 30s, we're going for Liverpool because when our parents were following football, Liverpool was the team. Like they were just magic. So, and the same reason I think kids nowadays are going for Barca, Real and those clubs because they're magic right now.
Yeah.
Our parents went for Liverpool and those type of clubs too.
Yeah.
So, they're just massive. They're a good club.
Yeah.
Obviously love them, but when you do look at the stats objectively, you still have to put them number 2. It's undeniable.
You said it perfectly, man. Statistically and objectively speaking, Liverpool is the second best team to ever grace the planet Earth for this beautiful game that we love. I wasn't around during their most prolific period, but always thereabouts, and that's a fan base that never dies. It's it could very well be the best, most loyal fan base on the planet. So for that, I'll give it to him 100%. And my goodness, Jurgen Klopp, one hell of a manager, probably the best in the world at the moment. So despite my hatred for the club in general, there is no objective reason for me to knock them back at number 2. So let's head into number 1, eh? I wonder who it is.
Number 1 has to be.
Number 1.
There's a consensus around here. It's not negotiable. Mate.
It's not negotiable.
I'll get you to read them out. But
as much as I'm not a big fan of them, but it's undeniable. Real Madrid is the number 1 club in the history of football by a long shot. We're looking at the stats here. We've got 13 Champions Leagues and 3 runners-up, which is far more
2
than everyone
Europas.
else. They've got 2 Europas, and then they've got 34. Am I saying this right? 34 La Liga titles in a very strong league.
Yeah.
And they're just like the Galacticos. They're known as that for a reason. They've just got the biggest superstars playing for them pretty much for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
You look at any Real Madrid team, and it's like the all-stars team.
It's a who's who. And like, I think what sums it up is the movie Goal, right? We probably all watched the movie Goal. I loved it. There's a reason in Goal 2, the club he goes to is Real Madrid.
Yeah, it's the pinnacle of his journey.
He's in England, he doesn't go to Man United, and that's during a good Man United squad.
Yeah.
He doesn't go to Barca, he goes to Real Madrid. And I can't remember the dude's name, the other footballer, not Santiago, the other one, the white dude.
Gavin Harris.
He's like,
That's it. He's watched it.
there it is.
He's watched it this morning.
He's like, mate, you go, if Real Madrid calls, you don't say no.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, that's the club, man. It's just, it has
He's
to
got
be
quotes
there.
from the movie here today. He's well prepared today.
Mate, I grew up, that was my movie, Santiago.
Absolutely.
Let's get it.
I would echo what
you,
you guys
buddy.
have said and just add, if they weren't the best team in the world before 5 years ago, I've never seen anybody win 3 Champions Leagues. Did they win 3 back-to-back and 4 in 5 years
3
or
in a
something
row.
like that? Or was it 3 and 4?
Yeah.
Look, whatever it was, they were incredible.
Yeah.
They were untouchable. Yeah, they get a little bit of help from the referees. They get a lot of help from the referees in Europe, to be honest. But their sheer resiliency and their club stature, like all you got to do is go back to when the Stefano was there dominating, and Raul did the same thing. The Galacticos did the same thing, and so did Ronaldo there again. So Real Madrid is the undisputed number one, boys.
If you want to talk about a who's who of football, like we talked about with AC Milan, like if you got a top 12 of all time of Real Madrid, it would just be mind blowing.
Yeah.
It really would.
Whereas-
Honourable mentions, boys. Yeah, there's a few. So you guys started with Benfica. I would definitely say they are an honourable mention for me. Most successful club in Portugal. Heavy European stature back in the day. I would say Celtic and Glasgow Rangers.
Yeah,
also
Celtic was
make
my
an
biggest
honourable-
one.
Yeah, also make the
Celtic
honourable
was my
mentions
biggest
for
honourable
me.
mention.
It's just that
Yeah.
I think, and maybe you boys disagree, but everybody I know sees Scotland as the bootleg Premier League, and that's got to be the only reason why I can't put these teams in there, because
Mate, that's the combo we had. The exact same combo. I was kind of going for Celtic. They got 50 league titles or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Them and Rangers are just dominant. But we were also like, the
They're
comp
just
is just them and Rangers. You
Yeah.
know, like if we're being honest, my family's Scottish. I grew up a Rangers fan, but I love the Scottish Premier League. But
It's
if
just
we're being
not the same
fair,
level, yeah.
it's 2 teams and it's not even close. So
Exactly.
There's like
and
a few-
the only other honourable mention that I think could have cracked the top 10 was Boca Juniors for me, and
Yeah,
just
Bocas,
being just being the most prolific club in South America. I went and visited the Bombonera Stadium in 2015. Didn't catch a game, but just being in that stadium gave me goosebumps. And then my best mate went a year later to an actual game and sent me footage, and he goes, bruv, my ears, I've never felt like that before in my life.
Yeah,
That's actually one of the bucket lists for me, man. I'd love to see Boca Juniors play in the
100%.
Bombonera, man.
Yeah.
Mate,
for
no one
sure.
does fans like South America.
No,
to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
Europe's incredible, but those South American stadiums and fans, it's just
They go ballistic.
it's stupid.
Yeah,
Next
the only
level.
other teams, like we obviously tossed around names like Arsenal and Chelsea.
Arsenal,
They're big
Chelsea
clubs,
for us, we were kind of shocked that we didn't have Chelsea, but
Like,
again,
they just haven't done enough.
They've won, I think, 6 league titles. They
That's
haven't done a Champions League, I don't think.
No, they've won one.
They've won
yeah.
one. It's just they're just
But-
not there when you look at the rest of the clubs.
You
Yeah.
can't,
City's
you can't
far
put
too new.
any team in the top 10 that hasn't won a Champions League, or at least equivalent to that level on whether they're in another.
100%.
Yeah.
So, Arsenal,
I think Chelsea's won
great
one,
stint
but
of success, but are they really a winning club after all that time? You've got these clubs that are serial winners and clubs that are serial always thereabouts, and that's what I put your Arsenals in, your Chelsea's in.
Yeah.
Chelsea in the modern era under Abramovich, very successful in a short amount of time. If we were to do this top 10 list again in 10 years' time, and they've still remained this consistent, maybe they'd crack it in there. But the clubs that we've mentioned in the top 10 today, they are in their own league of success.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, and then there's plenty of others. Like we talked about, even big followings like West Ham, Newcastle United, even like Roma, Lazio. They're big clubs, but they're just not there.
The only other one for us that was kind of close was Porto.
Porto, yeah.
But as you said, I think our top 10, I love your 10th pick, and I did see that, but I didn't know anything about them, so I didn't put them in there. But I think for us, like the 9 onwards that we got, it's indisputable. It's just they're the top 9 clubs.
Yeah.
The order can change slightly, as we did, and that was awesome, but they're the biggest 9 clubs ever, and you can't change it. It just is
I
what
would
it is.
agree. I think when everybody has those conversations, if you set everybody down and go, pick your biggest club in Germany, they'll say the same thing. Who are the heavyweights in Spain? Who are the heavyweights in England and the heavyweights in Italy? I think unless you're really, really biased, you can't change the 9 clubs that we've put in the list today.
Exactly,
mate.
that's so true. Well, thanks so much, Anthony, for coming on.
Oh, no, thank you, boys, for having me on. It was an absolute pleasure. Great show. Please keep it up, and thank you for the plug.